Today on Rappler, the tightest presidential race in Indonesia's history, both Jokowi and Prabowo claim victory. Senator Bong Revilla wants President Aquino, Roxas, and former President Arroyo on the witness stand in his plunder case. And Germany crushes Brazil's World Cup dreams. Hello, I'm Paterno Esmakel. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The tightest presidential race in Indonesia's history ended Wednesday, with most credible quick count showing Jakarta Governor Joko Widodo on track to become his country's 7th president. 188 million Indonesians were expected to go to the polls from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. in 480,000 polling centers across the world's largest archipelago. A high turnout of 72% was recorded, with around 30% voting for the first time. Jokowi, Prabowo, and running mates cast their vote in their respective voting precincts. Despite fears of potential violence, polls closed peacefully at 1 in the afternoon. Among the problems reported, ballots running out and voters unable to cast their votes in their polling stations. Initial quick counts shortly after polls closed reveal both Jokowi and Prabowo at a statistical tie. Joining us is Maria Ressa live from Jakarta. Maria, what happened today?
Oh, Paterno, remember, this is only the third time that Indonesians are selecting their president and their vice president. Each time it's always brought something new, and this time has many surprises. About an hour and a half after polls closed, Megawati Soekarno, the daughter of Indonesia's founding father Sukarno, in opposition to Suharto, basically announced that her party's standard bearer, Jokowi, and his running mate, Joko Widodo, and his running mate, Yusuf Kala, are the country's new president and vice president. About an hour after that, an announcement from the other camp, Prabowo and his running mate, Hatta Rajasa, questioning Megawati and Jokowi's statements and saying that they were the ones who actually won according to their counts. That was when Indonesia's President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono came out on national television, asked both sides to stay calm and to wait for the official count. I spoke with the man who funded Prabowo's campaign, his brother, Hashim Jojo Hadikusumo, and he said that he felt it was extremely dangerous for Jokowi to have made this announcement so early in the day. This is what he had to say.
My brother Prabowo was quite shocked. Everybody, our camp was shocked because nowhere in the world, that we're aware of, the people make victory claims an hour and 25 minutes after the polling booths. The vote counting, the vote counting hasn't even finished yet. And these were based on votes from the eastern part of Indonesia, Papua, and Papua, as you know, logistically very, very difficult to even collect the votes and count them. So it's going to take some time. So she made the very what we thought was a sort of a preemptive, but premature move, and so we were forced to react, frankly, so I think it's part of their psychological warfare campaign to basically unnerve us, and I think it's very dangerous, frankly, because to get people's hopes up, their supporters' hopes up, and to get their expectations up, and if the results go against them, I'm afraid there's going to be some violent reaction, frankly. So I was
well, Paterno, this is really a first. The first time that Indonesia has only had two people running against each other for the presidency. And as you can see, the first time the people who are running against each other actually both declare they won. Paterno, back to you.
Thank you very much. That was Maria Ressa live from Jakarta. Is Twitter influence a deciding factor in predicting the outcome of a presidential election? In Indonesia, presidential candidates Jokowi and Prabowo put this to the test during the campaign and on election day. Despite stark differences, candidates both use social media to boost their campaign. Being the Twitter capital of the world, it's no surprise that the amount of tweets sent out from Indonesia on election day was massive. Indonesian Twitter users had a field day, from hashtags and retweets declaring their support to photos of their ballots as they voted. If Twitter noise is an indicator, Jokowi came out ahead. However, Prabowo supporters have also been very active, seen in the final tally of Rappler's independent poll, which closed Tuesday midnight. For all news related to the Indonesian elections, visit www.rappler.com/Indonesia. Follow live updates from Rappler Indonesia at Rappler ID on Twitter. Joining us now is Ai Makaraig live from Jakarta. Ai, you followed Jokowi today. What was it like out there with his team?
The camp of Jakarta Governor Jokowi Widodo holds a victory party that's not quite won. Jokowi thanks and greets his supporters at the Proclamation Monument here in Jakarta. It looked, felt, and sounded like a victory party, but you get the sense that the victory his campaign declared is not yet that final. Jokowi reads the results of what he calls credible election surveys, but at the same time, he asks his supporters to guard the vote until the final results are out. Here's what he said.
Rakyatnya sejahtera, rakyatnya berkeadilan. Dan hari ini sejarah baru telah dibuat. Inilah sebuah babak baru Indonesia. Tugas kita semuanya sekarang ini adalah mengawal hasil pemilu hari ini hingga menjadi hasil resmi dari KPU. Ini perlu saya ulang, ini perlu saya ulang. Tugas kita semua sekarang adalah mengawal hasil pemilu hari ini hingga menjadi hasil.
The victory party starts on a high note with rock stars and musicians performing in the event. But it also quickly ends after Jokowi's speech. Organizers requested the crowd to disperse to heed the call of President Yudhoyono against mass mobilization. Despite the conflicting pronouncements of the different parties, to Jokowi supporters, it's clear who won this election.
We are Indonesia, more problem here. From maybe economy, problem from politics, problem from social. But with leadership of Jokowi, we believe that he can make us more best. I think that.
You think he is ready to be president?
He is more ready than I think.
Okay, thank you.
It means that we are entering new era. We have a new hope for the better Indonesia, for the mental revolution, like what Jokowi says, revolusi mental, and we believe that he will bring Indonesia into
A
better place,
better future, better place.
Yes, I mean.
At this point, Indonesians are still unsure who their next president will be. They're closely following the developments in the election, but the official results won't be out until July 22. Paterno.
Thank you very much. That was Ai Makaraig live from Jakarta. Senator Bong Revilla wants President Benigno Aquino, Interior Secretary Mar Roxas, and Pampanga Representative Gloria Arroyo to take the witness stand in his plunder case. The three officials are among the witnesses Revilla listed in his pre-trial brief before the Anti-Graft Court Sandigan Bayan Wednesday, which includes movie and television producers. Revilla says one of the issues to be resolved by the court is whether or not the projects allegedly funded by his PDAF are fictitious and whether or not he knew these to be so. Revilla's lawyer Joel Bodigon does not give a reason why his client wants to call in Aquino, Roxas, and Arroyo. Revilla is charged with plunder and 16 counts of graft before the court for allegedly siphoning off public funds to bogus projects through scam mastermind Janet Napoles. Among the three senators charged over the PDAF scam, Revilla allegedly pocketed the biggest amount in kickbacks at 224 million pesos. Senator Juan Ponce Enrile is under hospital arrest for now. He is detained at the Philippine National Police General Hospital. The Sandigan Bayan orders a medical exam for the senator Wednesday, which must be submitted to the court 3 days from notice. The court says Enrile will be allowed to make temporary visits to other medical facilities in case of emergency and if the treatment cannot be provided by the police hospital. Expenses for off-site treatment will be shouldered by the senator. Enrile's lawyer Estelito Mendoza says the 90-year-old senator is in frail condition and may suffer from attacks that are, quote, immediately fatal. Medical reports from last May said ENRILE has been diagnosed with chronic hypertension, elevated fasting blood sugar, mild anemia, and, quote, age-related macular degeneration in both eyes. ENRILE is also on at least 22 different medications for his various health complications. The prosecution opposes ENRILE's motion, saying the senator had to show his ability to function as legislator in the past. This is ENRILE's third time in jail. He is detained due to plunder and graft charges in relation to the biggest corruption scandal in recent history. Former ENRILE aide GIGI Reyes will be detained at Camp Bagong Diwa, Taguig City. It's the same facility where authorities hold alleged terrorists from the Moro National Liberation Front and suspects of the 2009 Maguindanao massacre. The Sandigan Bayan on Wednesday denies her motion to be transferred to the Philippine National Police Custodial Center, where senators also charged for plunder are detained. Reyes was temporarily detained at the basement of the Sandigan Bayan building since the jail in Quezon City could not accommodate her. Reyes, along with Senator ENRILE, is charged with plunder and graft in relation to the public fund corruption scandal. The Philippines still has around 78,000 hectares to put under its Agrarian reform program, as the third deadline to complete the distribution of lands to farmers lapsed on June 30. President Benigno Aquino wants the legislative branch to prioritize the passage of a bill extending the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, or CARP, for another 2 years. Ifugao Representative and House Committee Chief on Agrarian Reform Teddy Baguilat hopes Aquino would bring it up in his State of the Nation address.
Because I think this is the only bill which he has certified recently that hasn't been acted yet by Congress. And I think the President has to send a strong message to all of us, especially his allies, that this is something that he wants. This is social justice that he needs to accomplish within his term.
Those who oppose the measure say the distribution of land into smaller plots may not be productive or efficient within the ASEAN economic integration drawing closer. Baguilat says while farmers own their respective land plots, he believes in farmer owners banding together to create thriving communities of productive plantations.
I subscribe to the belief that through agrarian reform, we can develop small farmer entrepreneurs, who will be effective, who will of course organize themselves into cooperatives.
Yes.
I mean, that's the ideal
Yeah.
vision. No? Well-managed cooperative. No? To me, that vision is still something that I think is attainable.
Typhoon Neoguri, the strongest typhoon to hit Japan in recent years, has 2 casualties. Authorities from the southern islands of Okinawa say a 62-year-old man died after he was knocked off his boat in rough waters near Japan's mainland. TV network NHK also reports the death of an 81-year-old fisherman. NHK puts the total of injured people at 25. Neoguri forced more than 500,000 to seek shelter as it damaged buildings, uprooted trees, and brought air and sea traffic to a halt. Nearly 70,000 Okinawan households had no power. The Japan Meteorological Agency downgrades all severe warnings for Okinawa Wednesday after the typhoon passed. Neoguri packs gusts of up to 216 kilometers or 134 miles per hour, approaching one of Japan's 4 main islands, Kyushu. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 7, U.S. President Barack Obama asked Congress to release $4 billion in emergency funds to confront a surge of migrants from Central America crossing the border into Texas. Calling it, quote, an urgent humanitarian situation, Obama says the funds would be allotted for new detention facilities and hire more immigration judges and border patrol agents. The request has become entangled in a fierce political debate over immigration. At number 9, British rock legends Pink Floyd are set to release a new album called The Endless River in October, their first in 20 years. The band says the new album contains mainly ambient and instrumental music, with some material based on recording sessions from more than 20 years ago. Pink Floyd sold over 250 million copies of its albums worldwide. And at number 10, though Though the last book in the Harry Potter series came out in 2007, author J.K. Rowling made sure fans relive their best memories through an interactive website called Pottermore. In a recent post on the site, Rowling writes an article set in a universe years after the events of villain Voldemort's defeat. Harry is about to turn 34 and Hermione is now a high official in the wizard world. Want to read more? Check out pottermore.com. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's-The Wrap. Brazil's World Cup dream crashes after deflating 7-1 loss against Germany in the tournament semi-finals. Germany advances to Sunday finals after a brilliant first-half blitz where they scored 4 goals in just 6 minutes. Miroslav Klose's goal at the 23rd minute was his 16th overall, making him the World Cup's all-time top scorer. It is Brazil's worst loss in its 100-year footballing history. Brazil played without striker Neymar, who suffered a back injury, and top defender in team captain Thiago Silva. Defender David Luiz dropped to his knees after the loss and apologized to the Brazilian people. He says, quote, "It's a very sad day, but it's also a day from which to learn." The match also broke records on social media. On Facebook, it records 200 million interactions among 66 million people. The match is also the most discussed single sports game on Twitter with 35.6 million tweets. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories with the most clicks. We have a good mix of stories on our mood navigator today, a very colorful mix. We can begin with this one. 7 Brazil fans with most heartbreaking reactions. 66% of readers of this story voted sad. Now, this story is still gathering a lot of votes. The unwed mom who brought her child for baptism and was chastised by a Cebu priest, 73% angry. But the story that drove the most votes to our mood navigator today is an inspiring story of a Singaporean family that sent their daughter to the Philippines to study in a public school, 71% inspired. This mix of votes on our mood navigator contributed to the mood of the day. Today, most people are inspired. That's Rappler's newscast for today, Wednesday, July 9, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Paterno S. Maquel. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.